Okay, guys, we are live. We're going to let a few people join in, and then we'll get started. Okay, so tonight we are going to talk about using stencils with your enamels and with the color concentrates on glass. And then I do have a couple of ceramic people that wanted to know if we could do some of this on ceramic, so I've got a little tiny bit of that to show you also. Hey, Barbara. Hello, Luann. Good evening. We'll let a few people join in. We had a lot of interest, so we'll see how many people find us. I like the idea that it sends it out and tells you as a reminder by doing it this way. So hopefully we won't have any technical issues tonight. Okay, so tonight I'm going to talk about using the stencils with your dry powdered enamels, how to do that successfully, and then how to use your color concentrates also. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Jody. Hey, Miss Jenny. Hey, Robin. Okay. All right, so we've got quite a few people coming on. So what I'm going to do is go to my overhead camera, and we are going to get started. Okay. This is a glass plate that I used a stencil on, and I sifted on multiple colors through the stencil. So I'm going to show you some smaller versions of different things that you can do. Okay. So this is just white glass. This is, I believe, is a 12-inch plate. So it was flat. For those of you that are not familiar, it was flat like this. Put the stencil on, and then we're going to sift through it. Okay, so I'm going to show you to do this type of thing. It will not probably be the exact same colors, but gives you an idea on how to do that. The other thing that you can do with the enamels is you can sift them on. This happens to be our GTs, the yellow, orange, and the red, and you can get a gradation, you know, from one to the other, and then you could cut this up and put it into other things, use it as a part sheet. Okay, so let me know if you guys can hear me. Somebody tell me that before I get to going too far here. So Robin, Cindy, somebody make sure you can hear me well. I want to make sure everything is working. My husband's across from me, says he can hear me fine. Of course you can. Of course you can. So somebody tell me if you can hear me. Okay. All right. So we're good. All right. So we're going to do something like this, okay, to start with. All right. So the first thing that you want to do is put down a piece of paper, something that you can catch all of your dry powders, okay? You could, what makes it easier also is I'm going to set this up on something so that when I get ready to take it and set it somewhere else, I can do that easily, okay? These are enamel sifters. There's actually 3 sizes in this particular one. There's a smaller one, and I don't know where mine's at, but this gives you an idea. These can be found at most of your glass supplies places. And then this is a bullseye sifter. So the difference in it is the mesh of the screen may be larger in this one versus these. And a lot of people will use even like tea strainers, that type of thing. So the larger the holes are in here, then more color is going to fall through. Okay. So the first thing that I like to do is I put down some of our GM 300, which is our glass color medium, so that it holds the stencil in place for me. I don't have to worry about it. So I'm just going to put 6 or so drops on there, and I'm just going to take my medium sumi brush, and I'm just going to move that around just to basically dampen the glass so that, put just a little bit more. This will hold the stencil in place, and it also holds your color in place and allows you to take that to your kiln without it falling off of there or blowing away. It just keeps it in place. Okay, so I put that on there, and then I'm going to grab my stencil, move some of this out of the way So I'm going to do that same stencil so that you can see it. So I'm just going to lay that in place, and you can move it around if you want, but look at that. I'm pulling on it and it doesn't move. Okay, so it's pretty, you have to lift it, okay, to make it move. And you might just tap it down. I did clean my glass. I use 96 COE, and I clean with white distilled vinegar is what we recommend when you're using our products, okay? That seems to work the best for us. We used to clean with alcohol, and we were getting some smearing on the clear glass, so it's a good idea just to use the distilled vinegar. Okay, I always like to start with my light color, so I'm just going to pull out some of these colors. This is, and what I like to do, make sure you can see, yes, you can see that, okay, is add my color into my sifter. And I usually put it on my lid, okay? That way, if I spill any, it goes back into my jar. And then I can just say, okay, this flower, I want it to be yellow. And I'm just gently tapping. And you want it on there fairly generous. So I'm just going to add a center to a few of these. And then we can do other colors. Now, some people will say you can take your tool and do this. I like the tapping motion with the enamels. Okay, so, and then when you're done with that color, and then that way any residue is in there. Okay, I'll leave that out just in case I decide. I am going to tap off my sifter over here to the side just to make sure I don't have any of that color in there. Not that it would matter because I'm going to go from light to dark. Okay, so now I have 318 pumpkin.
Let's see.
And do we have any questions, Bert?
Use that on bisque.
Not the enamels, but I'm going to show you another product shortly that you can use on bisque. Okay.
And what thickness is your glass?
This is a 2 millimeter, and what I'll do is I'm going to, 3 millimeter. It's standard, and I'll put a piece of clear behind it to achieve my 6. Okay, so you see how let me come a little bit, maybe a little bit closer. Hold on. There we go. All right. So I'm just tapping some of the orange. You can see how the medium is absorbing. So just go around, and it doesn't matter if it gets on top of some of the other, because whatever's on top is what's going to show. Yes. Do we have a question? The last question was, can you do this on bisque? These are glass enamels, and no, you cannot do this on bisque this way, but I'll show you another way to use the stencil.
How did you secure the stencil to the glass?
Okay, so what I did in the beginning, and I can't pick it up and show you, but I took the glass medium. Somebody asked, how did I secure it to the glass? Took the glass medium, I put a few drops across the surface, and then I took my medium semi brush and I just smeared that medium on there. And when I put the stencil down, then it will stay in place, okay? So you do need to, usually I have all my colors like open and ready, but I wanted you to see exactly what I was doing. So I did not do that because you need to get it on there while it's wet, okay? And now I'm going to 310 vermilion red, and I'm going to hit that red around the edge of that particular one. And if you wanted to be really, really precise, use a smaller sifter, okay? And I will, when I take this off, I'll show you how thick this is, okay? All right, so we need a little bit more to maybe do on another one. Any other questions, Bert? Okay, no more questions. Let's go around this one here. So you determine how far out, maybe a little bit on this edge. So I wanted you to see that this is pretty simple. So a lot of you say, oh, I bought your enamels, but I can't paint. I don't know how to, you know, I'm not an artist, I can't paint. Well, you can do this. This is pretty simple to do. I think anybody should be able to do this. We do carry these stencils on the website. Yes, was there a question?
How long of working time is there?
Well, we started at I'm going on 5 minutes right now. So we'll see. It's pretty, you know, and if you had to, there's still some medium in my brush. You could go in here, you know, and tap in some more medium on some areas that you think might be dry. And it doesn't really matter if it gets dry. It's just, this is a way to secure that. And it's also a way to get it to the kiln without making a mess. This particular color is Tea Rose 334. And I'm going to go over here with this one.
Christine Kelly wants to know.
Hi, Christine.
Does the red have to be vented?
So Christine, she wanted to know if the red has to be vented. This particular red that I was using is 310 Vermilion, and it's the G310, G meaning glass. It does not have the T in front of it, so the GTs have to be vented. This particular one does not. I do not have any products out to work with tonight, mainly because you should wear a mask when you're doing this. I'm not wearing a mask. This is the GT reds that she's talking about. And these, there's a yellow that we added into it, an orange and a red. And these do have to be vented to 1100 degrees. If you don't get them on heavy enough, like you can see, it's lighter around the edge, so it starts to turn gray or black. You can always go back over the top of it and redo it. So that was 34. So now I'm going to add 32, which is deep cranberry, which is a darker, like a maroon color. Putting my sifter. Let me back the camera back. Whoops, wrong way.
Lindy wants to know what was put on the glass first.
Who was that?
Lindy.
Lindy, I put the GM 300 on there. And you can always go back and watch the start of this. The 300 medium, moved it around with the brush and then put my stencil down. So it's on there pretty good right now. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here and add some of that and maybe a little bit here.
Ben wants to know, is that your stencil?
This is one of my stencils. And you know what? This stencil is, you see, I wrote it on there, TWC 157 Flower Frenzy is what it's called. TWC 157 Flower Frenzy. This is a large one. I believe some of the stencils we have in 2 sizes. They're $10 for the large, $5 for the small, and you can use them on any craft. It doesn't have to just be the enamels, okay? So you could use them on your ceramics to do the CCs with. Okay, let's go to some purples now. Let's do, you can see how I need a bigger space, first of all, but anyway. All right, so this one is 338. Once again, I'm putting my sifter in my lid. That way it catches any product. Any question?
No.
Okay. So this is 38 Orchid Bloom. And I'm just going to add it on this center area. And you could go light on the outside and dark in the middle. I'm just kind of going from light to dark. Okay. Dump excess back in there. Make sure you knock off any extra that's in your jar. And then I'm going to go to Grape 339. So right now I'm just working with the glass enamels. They're a dry powder. So this is a way that you can use them. Like I said, if you tell me you can't paint, you can't draw, you don't need to. You can use those stencils to aid you in your design. You can make stencils on your Cricut, your Silhouette machines also. So I'm kind of overlapping each one of those colors so that they blend and it gives them a transition from one to the other. Let's go over here and add this purple on this one. And we can add some darker blue later. So you have to work fairly quickly, but you know, you can get away. Like I said, it's just because I've got the medium on there that the stencil is down and staying in place. Okay. All right. So to add a little bit of extra to these ones that I just did the dark, I'm going to go to Sapphire G343. And I'm going to add just a smidge of that just for a new color. Any questions, Bert?
No.
Nope. Okay. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, we got a question.
So
Hold on.
is the excess on the stencil waste?
Yes, it is. It's waste. You could, because the medium is not on the top of the stencil, it could be if you wanted. So yeah, you have to be extremely careful, and let's just hope that Paula can do this on camera without messing it up. You guys can laugh at me because sometimes it sticks. That's why you need to do it quick, because as it dries, it's going to be harder to get off of there. So I'm going to keep going fairly quickly here. Let's do 51 and 52 to add a blue. And again, I'm going from light to dark. Oops, and I just made a mess. That's all right. That's why we have a paper down, because I can clean it up and reuse it. See that? It's a good thing I had that there. Okay, I won't worry about it right now. All right. Let's do this one blue. Don't sweat the small stuff, right? All right, so right now I'm just using the enamels, and I forgot to put something else around that guy, so I'll have to go back and do that. We've got yellow and red on him. We've got one little flower over here on the corner. I'm going to just add some on also. Okay, the rest are green. Any questions?
Luann, could you dilute the medium and spray on top just before removing the stencil?
Oh, wow. Okay, so she asked, could you dilute the medium? And I don't know why you'd want to dilute that, first of all, Luann. Unless you think it's going to be easier to get off of there. It's not. And no, you can't spray. Let's think about this. We've got loose powder. Now, where it's wet, it's stuck. But you got loose powder, and as soon as you mist that, Luann, the mist power is going to push and shove that color, and it's going to go everywhere, and it's going to go airborne, which you don't want it to do, because you don't want to breathe that. You should be wearing your mask anyway. So no, I would not do that. But good question. Because I'm sure somebody else was thinking the same thing. Just add a little bit. This is deep cerulean. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that. Just for a little bit darker. All right. And we need to go back with some orange. We'll put a lot of orange on that one there. And we'll be done with that, and we can do our greens. So a little bit goes a long ways. It's pretty, as far as how much does it take to do it. It doesn't, I mean, I put like 2 scoops in here, and they weren't huge scoops. And I should be able to get around this largest flower, and this is like a 4-inch diameter flower. Okay, hit that there also. All right, so let's look at this one real quick so you can see. I got powder on it, sorry. How I went from one to the other. I wasn't really careful, but it's really cool. It almost gives it a airbrushed look without airbrushing. You can airbrush with the enamels. You would want to liquefy them, of course, and then use a minimum of 60 psi. I wish I could do a live on that, but that is not going to work because of the airbrush noise. You just can't do it. Okay, so let's do a little bit of green real quick and we'll be done. Yes, we have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's what I just heard from the spray idea. Can you take the stencil off and put onto another, shoot, where'd it go?
Uh-oh.
Put onto another plate and then wash or brush onto the new plate through the stencil holes.
So they want to know if you can take the stencil off. Whoops, and I just did it again. Boy, this is not my night. And go put it onto another stencil and use what's here. Okay, is what they're asking. You could definitely try it. I don't know that it would work very well, only because all the colors, you know, are going to be together. So it's kind of hard to, when you start brushing it, they're all going to go on to that piece, that second piece at the same time. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of fill in.
I would like to see the scoop.
The scoop, the stencil, the sifter, or what I'm actually scooping into the.
Show the scoop, please.
Show the scoop. Okay.
I assume what you're using to put it in the.
Oh, you can use anything. I'm just using my tool that we sell. We sell the little tools with the glass paint. You could use a small spoon, whatever you want to use to get it into your sifter.
All I want to know are these the concentrate colors.
No, these are the enamels. These are the G series enamels. That was sorry, I forgot to say leaf green, and this one is laurel green, which is darker. And I'm working from light to dark. Okay, so Luann, I think you can see. So here's my tool off to the side here, and I won't need very much. So I'm just kind of a generous scoop. Okay, into my sifter, and then I'm just going to add a little bit that on the leaves. I'm not being really picky. Just kind of here and there. Like I said, if you wanted to go to a smaller sifter, you could. I'm going to put some in the middle there. Just so I've got some, and I've got a flower over here that doesn't have anything on it. So I need to go back and touch it, and then we'll take this off. All right, so let's, since it's at the end, I don't want to introduce a new color because it would stand out like a sore thumb. Okay, so.
She was apparently talking about the sieve because you said.
The sifter?
You used 2 scoops, but I didn't know the size.
Okay, so I just used 2 of the end of my tool. So this one I've just got 1 scoop in there, and I'll lift it up. You can see there's not hardly any in there, but I just have a little tiny area I'm trying to catch over here at the side. Okay. I think I am, well, I'm going to add just a little bit more right here. Sometimes as it dries, you can start to see if it's heavy enough. All right, guys, here comes the true test, whether or not Paula can get this off of here. And wasn't thinking about that when I said I'd do live. Okay, so the trick is that you want to lift. Hold on. I gotta get my trash can ready over here. Lift the corners, so, because it's stuck, okay? So you want to go through here and just kind of start lifting, because it's going to pop, and when it pops, then all the dry stuff on the top is going to pop into an area that you probably don't want it. So can you see as it starts to lift? Get everything out of my way. See, that one kind of popped. You can come back and dust it off. You can also use, we have those shaper tools, which you can get stuff to go back in the spot. So I'm just kind of working from edge to edge. And do you see, I just bumped it. Okay, so you just want to get that loose. I should have started with the small one, but no, I had to show you the big one first. And we got to talking. Okay, so now I'm loose. You ready? Straight up. You can see there's a whole bunch of stuff on here. Now I am going to dump it in the trash because I am not worried about that. All right, so it did move a little bit on me, but I'm okay with that. Let me put this down. Too many things. I got stuff all over me also. Okay, so we do have these shaper tools on the website. So if you were really worried about something, you could push it back into another area, okay, and keep it in there. Now I want to come in close so that you can see. I got lights that are, I'll move that one, maybe. And can you, I think you can kind of see how thick it is. I'm going to tilt it just a little bit. I don't want to tilt it too much, but it's probably a half a millimeter, half a millimeter thick on there. Okay. Any questions about that? So you can see here, over here, I've got some that's out of bounds, so to speak. You can also take your regular glass enamel brush, and you can sit and lift that up or dampen it and push it back. Can they see that, or am I off camera? I think I'm off a little bit.
Susie McDonald wants to know, does this use up more enamel than when mixing it with medium and painting?
Not really. Susie asked, does this use more of the enamel versus painting? Not really. Actually, I think it probably is a little bit less. So see, I've just taken a damp brush, and you could go in here. I'm not going to do all this, but I wanted you to see how I would correct it if I needed to. So you can take the damp brush, or you can take the shaper tools. There's there's 5 different shapes. They have different tips. This happens to be like a little wedge on each end. So you can just use this to move things around, push them around, that kind of thing. Okay. You wouldn't cap this because you would have air bubbles. So leave this on top. The enamels will gloss when they fire. Okay. So you don't have to worry about it. You could set this if you wanted to put a clear over the top. You could set it and fire to 1380, which is our minimum temperature for the enamels. Okay. And then come back and put a cap over it, clear glass or transparent. I tend to work on a lot of white, and then I'll just put a clear underneath it so that I have my 6 millimeters that I need. Okay. All right. So that is that piece. We are going to get rid of that. Give me 1 second. See if I can. So you've got this excess. Nice pretty rainbow of colors there. You could dump this into a container and use it for something if you wanted. I'm just going to dump it in the trash. It's not worth the hassle. Okay. So any questions about what I did there? Are we good? So let's do another one. So those of you that joined me late.
Cheryl Hudson, are these food safe or do they need to be capped?
Our enamels are food safe. Cheryl was her name? Cheryl, these, as long as they say just G and the number, okay, that means that they're glass paints and they are not toxic. If it says GT, we have 3 colors. This is 2 of them. This is the orange and the red. We also have a yellow, and those have cadmium in them, and these have to be vented, and then they would have to be reverse painted, or after you preset them, then you could come back and cap them. So only 3 colors of ours. Everything else that's in the G series is all food safe and non-toxic, and it does gloss. Okay, let's show you this plate again. This is actually just 1 piece of glass. This is 3 millimeters. I did this many, many years ago. So you can see how it glosses all by itself. Does not have to be capped. They are all food safe. And I was saying you could airbrush, but this gives you an airbrush look by doing the light to dark colors. It's kind of a cool look. Okay. All right, so let's do another one from the start. This is another one of our stencils. This is TCW 779, S meaning small. I believe we have a 12-inch. This is a 6-inch, okay? So those of you that missed the beginning, I've cleaned my glass with distilled vinegar. Again, that's what we recommend when you're using the Colors for Earth products. And I'm going to just put some drops of our glass medium GM 300. So when you're buying your enamels, make sure you get some of the GM 300. It comes in the 2 ounce and the 8 ounce. 8 ounce is only like $6.75. This one is $4.05. This is the size that comes in most of our kits. So we have like all the seasonal kits, summer, winter, spring, and fall. We have a beginner kit. We have an artist palette kit, multiple ones out there, okay? And it tells you on each one of those pages what it comes in that kit. I'm just using a medium sumi, just a soft brush is what you're looking for. And I'm smearing that glass medium on there. It's basically like a glue. Okay. I'm just going to lay that down in case I need some more. And then I can set my stencil on. This one will give me a perfect border because you can see it's got when it sticks, it sticks. I mean, that medium keeps it. Now, what you might want to do is just kind of do this one time, just so that it's maybe not so. And I'm going to run and do this fairly quickly here, okay? Of course, I got my colors all out of order now. 32, where's my 34? Sure. Okay, let's go with 33. Put it inside your lid. Use your tool, a little spoon, something. I'm going to do the roses and the pink, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the cranberry color. Oh, there's my other pink. Okay, so I'm going to do this around the outer edge. Before I did the last one, I did the opposite. So we're going to go around the outer edge, and some of it may be all over it on the smaller ones, but we'll add some of the other. I have not used this particular stencil before, so I'll be anxious to see how it turns out. And then we've got a different flower over here, and I'll just put it around the edge. So it needs to be fairly generous. Okay. Any questions? So that was 33 Rosewater Pink. I'm going to add a little bit of Tea Rose, which is a brighter pink. More towards the center of each one of those. And I realize it's harder for you guys to see what I'm doing because you don't see the stencil where I'm closer. You just got to trust me. Let's go in this one. All right. And I'm just tapping on my water bowl to get rid of all of that color out of my sifter. That color was Tea Rose G334. Now I'm going to use, I shouldn't have worn dark colors today. I'm going to have powder all over me. 32. This is Deep Cranberry, which is like a burgundy color. And I'm going to put that near the center. Just tap really lightly on these, just so it gives it a hint of it. And I will fire these and post them, okay, so you guys can see them. Unless I mess them up, then I'm not going to. I'm just kidding. No, unless we mess one up, there's no sense of wasting the glass. All right, so that was 32. So I used 333 Rosewater Pink and 334 Tea Rose and 332 Deep Cranberry. So on these leaves, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Mint Julep 335 and Teal, which is 357, so that they have that would go really well with this particular pinks that I used. Okay, so these are the glass enamels, Colors for Earth glass enamels. You can find these on our website, www.colorsforearth.com. And I believe, oh, I don't have it on this screen. And you can contact me through the website. I guess I should have said who I am. I got jumped in and started doing this. So I am Paula McCoy. I'm the owner of Colors for Earth, and my husband is behind the other computer reading questions to me. That is Mr. Burt. All right, so I'm just going to add this to all the green areas, and then I'll come back and see, I ran out, getting low. I'll add a darker color, the teal, on top of it. So whoever asked as far as does it use more, I really don't think it does. And if you use the smaller sifter, which I couldn't find mine because it's only like the size of a dime, I mean, you can really control where it's going if you want to be more precise. I'm just kind of being loose with the design on this. Okay. All right, any questions?
No, I answered emails.
Oh, you answered her. Okay. And then I'll do this one, and then I'll show you the pieces that we did in the last live with the glass products. Okay. So you can see how some of you saw the pictures I posted on Facebook, but I slumped them so they're little dishes now. Is Den Larson on there? Mr. Den, when I show you these, you need to, I think I know which one I'm going to send you, but you tell me if you would rather have a different one, okay? And then be sure and comment, because what we've been doing is tell me where you're from. We're going to spin at the end, and there's going to be a lucky winner, or maybe two, of some of these items. So, didn't we have 2 winners last week?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we had 2 last week. Actually, I sent, one of them went to Canada with an order. Okay, so we're going to look at it and see what it looks like. All right, so once again, you want to lift your corners. I did put this tape on here for a reason, because it's going to allow me to start lifting. Because I have fingernails, I should have put it on all 4 corners, okay? But you do need to, I'm going to turn this so I can get to it. Lift and let it kind of come off of the glass. And you don't want to do it all at once. Just work from each corner. I may have to use my tool. I don't think so. See how I did that? I just slid that underneath there. Now I'm going to go to the opposite corner. Gently lift. Don't get in a hurry. Okay, this is on an ivory colored piece of glass. And I just took that to the trash can and got rid of it, and you can see that it's clean. So over here on the side. But that's pretty cool. Let me turn it around so you can see it. Now, it's pretty heavy in here. I'm going to wait till everything dries, and then what I would do is either come in with a toothpick, or like I said, one of these shaper tools. We have a set of them on the website, and you can push some of it off. Or you can take, if you join me late, you can take one of our little detail brushes that we paint with, and I slightly dampened it in water. And all I'm going to do is just go in here and like tap and kind of get rid of, so you can, you know, go back and clean that up. You see how that kind of attaches itself to there. Cut myself cleaning my glass tonight.
Ginger
Yes.
wants to know, can do this on glass that is already clear and a color pre-fused, then add the enamels and fuse again?
So Ginger asks, can you do this on pre-fused glass? The issue with something being pre-fused, Ginger, is your edges round. Okay, so they start to round depending on how hot you go. So if you have a design that goes all the way out to the corners, it's going to have too much of a gap. So if it's a smaller one in the middle, absolutely, it just needs to be flat. Okay, that's your key there. And I know this is really heavy in here, and I'm not going to try to do it all on camera, but see how I just lifted that little tiny bit up, so you can just touch it with that brush and it'll come off of there. But I still think that's pretty cool looking. Okay. Any questions on that?
Alina wants to know, how do these look on clear glass?
They look pretty good. Now I gotta find a place to set all this stuff, which I wasn't thinking about. If I did it on clear, okay, I would come back and put a colored piece underneath it. Okay. I mean, I can do one on clear for you, but I like the white. And like this one is a little round, the 6-inch round, and I wasn't going to use this one because this is not one of my stencils. But and this is one I've used with an airbrush, you can see. But you could, same thing, start with a color and then go out and do it. Okay. Any other questions?
So enamels don't move when firing?
You know, no, they're not going to run. They're just going to absorb into the glass is what they're going to do. Okay. Does that make sense? Whoever asked that?
Can you do this into molds with the tiny stencils for designs, then frit on top, then fuse?
Okay, so the question is, can you do this on tiny molds in the mold, then add frit on top? So if you were frit casting, in other words, no, because the enamel will stick to your mold 99% of the time. Okay, so I would not recommend that. Now, I have taken the enamels and I have made colored frit, and I have put down some frit in the mold, like a dusting of clear, and then dropped in my enamels that I have made out of frit. I've done that before. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to show you, does anybody have any questions on the rest of, or on the enamel part, if you were doing the dry enamels?
What else could you use to hold your stencil if you do not have it?
Okay, so they asked, what else could you use to hold your stencil? So you could tape it down, but see, the problem is, if you tape it down to your glass surface, then how are you going to get it off of there without tugging and pulling? Okay, so another way you can do it, we'll just set this one on here. You could take some of your medium, if you didn't like doing it that way. Let me just grab a jar. Okay, so that's not going to be, hold on, let me get another jar that's larger. All right, so you could take your glass medium and you could put it in a paint well if you didn't like the way those stuck. Okay, so I'm going to try to center this one, and then get your medium on your brush, and you could go in like this and just do it over the top. Let's see if it makes any difference.
Okay, so Cheryl Hudson asks, so should I center the enamel on one layer first before full fusing with 2 layers?
I don't. Okay, so she asked, do you center it? And what she's meaning is there's other people out there, other companies, different techniques where you basically set the color, meaning center it. Setting is what I call it. You can set it at 1380, and then you can come back if you choose to cap. Remember, you do not have to cap this. It's going to gloss. This is the finished piece, okay, after I've sifted. So it glosses. You don't need to cap that. If you would like to do that because you want to do other things, 1380 is your minimum temperature, no matter what type of glass you're working on, okay? And then you could come back and add a piece underneath it or add it over the top, whatever you wanted to do. Let's just do this one just with 2 colors, okay? We're not going to get real fancy. Another question?
Not so much question.
What's the comment?
Ricky Young said, I would like to know how you make the colored frit using the enamels. Oh, which you can answer that later.
Okay. She's asking, how do you make the colored frit with the enamels? And I would have said that, and I don't have any frit sitting here in front of me. Let me, I'll go back to that, okay? So I'm sifting on 351, which is cerulean blue. And I'm just going to do 2 colors on this one because I just want to show you, because I put the medium over the top on this guy as opposed to completely underneath it. Now, some of it's going to go underneath because that's just, it's a stencil. It's plastic. It's hard. Anything wet is going to go under it. And then I'm going to use 352 deep cerulean. Again, I'm setting it in my little lid so that I can catch anything that falls. So I'm not wasting. Just tapping the color on. So our enamels come in this size, which is the little 1 ounce size, or 28 grams. And then it also comes in a 2 ounce, 4 ounce, and pints if you're a production person. You can find all those options on the website. Out. So this is a quick way to do, I couldn't find my samples. I did coasters like this. Like I said, a lot of times I'll work on white and just put a clear behind it. Or I like to take and put a color behind it. So if you had a colored piece of glass that would match the particular design, and I'm going to tap a little bit in the middle there. All right. I'm doing this fast, guys, just to show you. So I'd probably have 1 or 2. You need to work fairly fast while it's wet. Okay, so don't be getting 6 or 7 of these lined up because it's going to dry too much. So I'm lifting from the corners to try to loosen. You see how that pops? This has got really fine. So I don't think it would matter too much on putting the medium under it as opposed to on top of it, because you can see that that's really sticking. Don't get in a hurry. You've got to just, I have a feeling it's going to pop. There we go. I think it's going to release finally. Maybe. Oh. All right. Pretty. So I would let it dry completely, and then I would come back once again and either use the shaper tool to move things around. And I'm just going to take that off that edge. This would be really pretty to put it on to another piece of glass that is slightly larger. And I like to do that. It's almost like makes a frame around it. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about. So this is a 6-inch. So I would do like a 6.5-inch circle and put it around it. So I'm going to lift this up to the camera and hopefully you can see the thickness of that. It's pretty thick. I can't turn it sideways and show you because it'll move. Okay. All right. Any questions about that? No? Yes? Maybe? Okay. All right. The other cool thing is that you can layer your stencils. So let's say you wanted to take, and I'm not going to do a whole bunch of that, but I just wanted to talk to you about it, is you could put something really light on. If you were going to dam a piece, put it inside a dam, you could have a stencil on one part, and then you could have another one, and so on and so forth. So let me show you another way you can do. We're going to not use the enamels. Oh, wait a minute. We got a question. Yes.
Could you flip all of it over quickly
No.
to get rid of the extra, then set it back down to remove the stencil?
I wouldn't, because if you, okay, the question was, can you flip it over quickly? No, I wouldn't try to do that, because if you didn't get the medium in all the areas of the stencil, then some of it might not adhere, and when you flipped it, I think it would just make a mess, honestly.
Can the enamels be used on float glass?
Yes, the question was, can the enamels be used on float glass? Absolutely. They can go on any type of glass. Okay.
And Cindy Hopper wants to know, could this be done with any of your other paints or just the enamels?
Okay, so she wants to know whether this can be done with any of my other paints or just the enamels. So using a stencil, it was Cindy, is that correct?
Cindy Hoffman.
Cindy Hoffman, are you saying, can you use stencils with any of my other products? If so, yes, that's what I'm getting ready to show you. Okay, so let's take, let's see, this one is a new one. Hold on. Okay, this is a Christmas stencil. Okay, it's got holly. This is number TCW 718, S for small, 6-inch, and I think we have this in a 12-inch also. 6 inches is $5, 12-inch are $10. Now, you notice when I use the enamels, the dry powders, I did not tape it down. Now I'm going to use color concentrates, and I am going to tape this down. And I'm going to just catch the very edge of that stencil, and then I'm going to put it around on the back. Okay, I'm going to actually turn it this way. Question? Bert?
No.
No? Okay. All right, so if we wanted to keep this, say, really light, and we're going to use it maybe as a background, now I'm going to, and my bottles are terrible looking, guys. This is CC 163 Shadow Green. This is our 2-ounce size. We have 1-ounce sizes that come in all of our CC kits. These are our ceramic products that you can also use on your glass. Let me show you one of the kits. Okay, so here is one of our kits. We call them CC Enhancers for the fused glass community. This has pretty much your primary type colors, and we have 3 kits. We have 41 colors total. And so just in here is the 1-ounce size. Okay. And we have a kit that's got all 41 in it also. If you, and they all are still on sale, guys. I forgot to take them off. So they're $10 off per kit. This is the time to get them and save yourself some money. Okay, so I'm going to use a light green. And I'm going to pretend that this is my background piece. And maybe I'm going to have another piece of clear over the top of it. So I'm going to squirt some of that out. Now this does take, you know, we were talking about, does it take more to do the sifting? Now I'm going to use the roller sponges. These are the roller sponges. They're RD411 is the number on them. They come in the 3 different sizes. And this is what I use to do the color concentrates on fused glass. Now let me show you a couple of pieces here before I start. Okay, here's one. I use that same stencil that we just did on that bigger piece. Okay, here's another. Look at that, even covering on black. Is that nice? Pretty nice. And then this particular piece is transparent. I had a decal on it, but I did use a corner stencil on these corners just to accent. I have the enamels done in kind of a watercolor wash on the back. I used a decal on it, and then I came back and actually painted some enamels. We'll go into some of this in a future live. I just wanted to show you that particular, but isn't that pretty cool that they will actually cover, even though they are translucent underglaze, they will cover on the black also. So I thought that was pretty nice. All right, so let's load this sponge. You can have it out on a tile. Just make sure you get it all the way around it and just kind of work it into it. And I think, yeah, you can see that. All right. I'll be having powder all over me forever. Now, these have these little legs on the side. If you push down too hard, you're going to scrape into your glass. So just roll it nice and easy when you go over your glass. Okay? So I'm just going to start here. And I've never used this stencil with it, so hopefully it'll look all right. I just had a thought of, you could put this, it's kind of a sagey type green, and it would be pretty as a background. If you do any silk screening or anything, you could come back on top of it with darker. Once this dries, you could do painting on top of it even if you wanted. I'm kind of anchoring the stencil down so that it doesn't lift on me, okay? And I'm not applying hardly any pressure. I'm just going back and forth over it until I get the coverage. Again, I'm using our sponge rollers. They come in 3 sizes. RD411 is the number on the website. And Luann, you could do this on your ceramic bisque, okay? Anybody that is a ceramic peep of mine, you can use the color concentrates just like this through a stencil on your bisque.
Are the round samples, they're color concentrates?
Yes, these are color concentrates. I did them the same way as I'm doing this. Now, you can, I've got it anchored over here, so I can lift this and kind of look at it. Was there a question?
Oh, so I want to know if Dayton will have a ceramic show this year. Will you be there?
Dayton, I will not be there. I haven't went to any of the ceramic shows in about 4 years. And with COVID, my husband is high risk, and right now I'm just not going to take a chance. You know, hopefully everybody can get the vaccine and be safe. But we haven't even got ours yet. I finally found a list we could get on. So anyway, if you're watching this later, this is, what is today? February 2nd, 2021. Okay, so then you would just drop this in water, take it to the sink, spray it, whatever, to clean it off. Okay.
Sure wants to know, can you use this on the enamels on COE 90?
Yes, the question was, can you use it on COE 90? You can use it on anything. 90, 96, float glass. You can use it on your wine bottles, okay, as far as regular uses. Now, if you fire the color concentrates, okay, so I was using the concentrates. If you fire this, it will be a matte finish. It does need to be capped to make it food safe. Okay, and that means either put another piece of glass over the top of it, or you could sift clear powdered frit, you know, with your larger sifter, you sift clear over it. And when I say sift, I a pretty good coat. In one of our other videos, I showed the sifting, and I do not have any powder in front of me, so I can't show you that right now. But yes, you do have to sift over it if you want these to be food safe. These are nice to make part sheets. Do bunch, cut it up after you've fired it to the, actually you can set the color concentrates at 1225, so when you have a slump, or 1250, you can set them at that, but you still need to come back and cap them. So you can set it, cut it up, make jewelry out of it, and put another piece of clear, or if you're on white, whatever, transparent over the top of it.
Robin wants to know, do you do the entire glass or can you change colors?
Do I do the entire glass or can I change colors? If I had a tile out here, I could have double loaded my sponge and put a string of one color on one side and one on the other, or I could go into a dark and do it also. So you could do multiple colors at the same time. Okay, so this one, there's a little bit on the edge, so before I fire, I will come back and make sure I clean that off. You can take these pointed Q-tips are really great because you can just seesaw that, and you see that's pretty hard on there already. So where it's getting chalky around the edge, that means it's already dry. So like here, it closed in that, so you could come back and take your wipeout tool, your shaper. I can't do it while I'm holding that. And you could put it in anything that closed in.
Here's what I missed. What color did you use on the black glass?
This one I used Cerulean 351. Cerulean. And then I don't have the purple in front of me, but it has 137. Hold on, I knew somebody was going to ask some stuff. Okay, so here is a chart, and this chart is on our website, colorsforearth.com. If you go to the enamel page, and then in the left-hand column, you'll see CC Enhancers. Go to that page, and then there's a PDF you can download. So I have capped, so I brush stroked them on. I put black enamel, white enamel. I etched an area, and then I left an area blank, and there's a sheet that tells you all this. And then I capped the center of each one of these sections so I knew what would happen. So 137 washes out. Okay, you can use 135 is your best one to use as far as the purples. Your pinks tend to burn out also because these are for ceramics. These are made to go all the way up to like 2200 degrees, stoneware, porcelain. But traditionally your 04, 06 setting, which is 1930 and 1860. Okay, so much higher than what we are using them on glass. Okay, so this chart is out there on that page that you can download, so you can kind of pick and choose what you do. So let me finish. Bert's got a question, but let me finish real quick. So if you put that black, I realize this is black enamel underneath there. So that is the 150, 151, and your purple, because it's on top, okay, I just sifted, is probably the 130, I think it's the 135. You can see it over here. Okay, we have a question.
Okay. How long does it take to dry?
This, it's almost completely dry. There's only a little tiny bit in the middle that's still damp. So, and when it's dry, it's dry. I can touch it with my hand. There's no problem. So you could do another stencil, or say you wanted to paint with the enamels and you wanted to paint some holly leaves and put some vines. You could do that on the top. You could sift over this, cap it, and then do your painting on top because those enamels are going to gloss. Okay, so this is just a neat way with the roller sponge that you can do a background. Okay, I wanted to show you that. All right, any other questions, Bert? Okay, all right, so let me show you some of the things that we did 2 weeks ago. So this was stamping, and I had posted these out on Fuse Glass Fanatics and on my page and our enamel page. If you buy, before I go on, if you buy any of our products for glass, we do have a closed Facebook group, and I cannot post that as an answer to you in the Fuse Glass Fanatics. It's against their rules, so I have to message you if any. So a bunch of people today had asked me what I'd used on these. So these were stamped with the color concentrate black, the CC 101. And then I came in with other CCs. I used the 152 deep cerulean, and I did a brush stroke. And then I came back and I dotted with one of our dotting tools. Okay, and let me see if I have that. Yeah, this is one of our dotting tools here. So when I say dotted, because it looks like we have a lot of different people on tonight than we've been having, let me just do this real quick. So you come in here and I just dotted with the color. Okay, that's how I filled in. I thought that was kind of different, you know, something you don't normally think about. But there again, if you say I'm not a painter, you do not have to know how to paint. I stamped it and then filled it in with color. and more than likely it was filled in. I did it with the CCs, and then I did do some with our designers. Okay, so let me show you. So this one, and this was kind of cool. This is a soap dish. I think it's a Slumpy's mold. Look at the back. It had a texture, and because I had white glass, it wasn't going to show through the piece, but I thought that was kind of cool. It gives it some texture. So it's just a shallow little dish. Okay, here's another one. This was stamped also, and we carry the stamps on the website. This is what most of them look like. They're a rubber foam backing, and you roll on the color, whether it be the designer or the CCs is what my preference is, and then you stamp it to the glass, and then you come in and you fill in those areas. So I just sit and kind of just paint in. Everybody says, oh, that's so much work. It is, but it isn't, because the work is that outline that's already on there for you, and you can stamp it in whatever color you want. So this was another one we did 2 weeks ago. You can go back and watch that. I don't have those edited where they're on YouTube yet, but they will be on YouTube. Here is another one of the stamps. I filled it in with the designer purple, designer pink. Designers are another product of ours that are a powder. They look like this. Okay, they come in a 1/2 and 1 ounce bags. And then I like to put mine, you mix it with the medium also, and then we have what we call little ink jars, and I mix it in there, and then with the GM300 glass medium, and you can use a quill pen, you can use the dotting tool, you can stamp with it. Yes, we have a question.
Yes.
Okay, what's the question?
Can you stamp a second color once the first color is dry?
Sure, you could. I wouldn't go over the top of where you're already at, but you could come out. So if you made that a center motif and then you wanted to come out here, of course it would be flat when you're doing it, okay? You could come out and do another one for the rest of the area, absolutely. And you could just leave it stamped in color and not do any kind of painting. Another thing you could do is go back to the, like a monochromatic, and do the stamp in the dark blue, and maybe just fill in some areas with the same color. I mean, you can simplify it or you can make it more complicated. So there's multiple ways to do it. But I thought that was kind of cool. So this has, like I said, the purple and the pink is our designer colors. The greens are the CCs, which is what I was using on the roller sponge. Okay, so there is actually no enamel on this. This is all non-enamel products. It's done on a white base, and I cap it with clear.
Are the little dishes clear capped?
Yes, they are. They were done on white. I like white. Can you tell? Because, and then I'm going to cap it with the clear. Okay, now I can show you one in a second. Mr. Den Larson, this is the one I was thinking I was going to, it was kind of manly. I thought I would send this one. He won last week. So, Den, you let me know if this motif is good for you, and I'll send you that dish. Okay, this is the one that's got all the quill pen work in the background.
Are the designers also enamels? How are they different from CFE Enamels?
So the question is, are the designers, say it again,
are the designers enamels?
Are they enamels? They are not enamels. They are a non-enamel. So designers are a non-enamel. This is basically the pigment that we put into the color. This has got some, the enamels have glass in it. This has no glass. It has to be capped, whether it's sifted or capped with a clear. It has to be capped. You cannot set this. If you do set it and you touch it, it will literally wipe off. The only thing that holds that to the piece is the glass medium that you've mixed it with, is the only binder. So once that binder burns off, then it's gone and it will wipe off. Okay, so designers and color concentrates, because these are from my ceramic world. Okay, we have a ceramic color company, and we have a brush company, and then we have the enamels. So this is from the ceramic side. We just started using it on glass probably in 2008. But then about 4 or 5 years ago, we started using it heavier. I like to touch up my lines with the black CC or the DB Detailing Black 101. It's the same product if you have either one of those. Okay.
Did you ever use the designers as a powder, or do you always mix with medium?
I've to this point I've used them just with the medium. Okay. They are extremely. You make sure you wear a mask. Okay. Whenever if you were going to try to sift these on, I have not, but they're going to plume because they are just pure pigment. Okay. They're extremely, extremely fine. So please wear an IOSHA 95 mask when you're doing that. Okay. If you're going to do that, I would still put down medium like we did with the stencil, and then if you're going to sift over it, but I have not personally done that yet. They are fairly new. I love to use them because I can do brush strokes with them and they stay exactly where I put them. I did my hydrangea webinar that you can purchase on the website. It's downloadable files and it's a 6-layer piece, and I multi-layered the design on there. If Jackie Jordan is on, Jackie, I have your dish. This was from 4 weeks ago, a month ago. This is on white. This is using our paste, and it's paste outlined, piping paste on the top and on the bottom of the clear glass. And then the white glass is just so that I got a second piece of glass to create my bubbles. So Jackie Jordan, your order will ship tomorrow with your freebie that you won. Okay. Now, was there something I was supposed to go back?
You're supposed to talk about your brushes.
We do have some. Let me put these things back over here, guys. Get them out of my way. So did Den say if that one is okay for him? Has he answered yet?
He says anyone. I like them all.
Okay. I thought he would like the one with the quill pen because it gives you both of those uses. That's all I was thinking. You would like that. So for those that are the ceramic, real quick, I want to show, because I know Luann was asking me earlier. This was a piece I started last week, I believe it was. So Luann, what I've done is when you're using your stencils, don't think you have to use the whole thing. Okay, so I've taped this off to create myself a corner motif. Okay, so what I wanted to do was to add that up here on the corner. And so you don't have to use the whole thing. Okay, so that's the biggest, you know, everybody looks at something and they're like, oh, that's the way I got to use it. No, you don't have to use it just that way. Let me get another palette here. So on this one, I just did the one, I'll do this real quick, Luann, so you can see it. So I used one of the colors that was in my design. This is not finished yet. I was showing the ceramic. So I just line it up with the corners, and same thing, you're just going to roll that. And the reason I taped it on both sides, because I didn't want the sticky part of the tape getting on my bisqueware. And it also protected for where my line was going to be, as far as how much of it. And it's pretty cool. So you can add that little corner motif. So think about that. Let's just go ahead and do this one real quick while we're here. And that way it'll be done. And then I just have to paint the rest of it so I can give that away. Okay. So if you're joining us late, make sure you comment. Bert will spin the comments in a little bit, and somebody is going to win something that I demoed tonight. As long as you're in the lower 48 states. The lady that won from Canada last week, she just happened to order, so that worked out really well. Question?
I just think you got at least 2 from Ontario, 1 from Quebec.
Oh, we got Quebec. Is Miss Isabel on from Argentina?
I haven't seen her yet.
We got people from all over. Did Karen join us from?
I haven't seen Karen tonight.
Okay, so we have people from all over. All right, so that's just a way that you can come in and accent on your ceramics. So Luann, hopefully that helps you, maybe gives you some ideas, just a way to dress it up. If you've got a lot of open background, this might be something you want to do. You could mush in a background first and then add that as a darker shade on the corners. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? trying to think of what else. It was mainly the stenciling, you know, onto the bisque. And, you know, like here's another really fun stencil. Can you see that? It's like a fan. It's a leaf. This is TCW 369. It's called the mini flower quarter. And if you had a large tile, I mean, wouldn't that be pretty? You could do that with a lighter color, and then I would probably come in and do some brushstroke, like rosebuds or something coming off of it and add into it. So that would be another fun thing to do. We're running on an hour, right? Yeah. So we probably need to wrap it up. We did put some new brushes on the website. Hold on one second and I'll show you. I have a new little detail brush, which is kind of nice. And I will zoom in so you can see this. Okay, so really small. It's shorter and a little bit smaller than your 455 glass brush. Okay, this is number 2060 and it's a number 0. I believe, and I did put it on sale. I think it retails at $7.05 and I took some off. So it's out there on the website for those of you that like those small brushes. And then we did get some of our rounds finished. These are our Taklon rounds, our 5 and our 8, and they are numbers 2000. If you just search for 2000 or Golden Onyx, you can find those options out there too. So those are nice to do brush strokes with also, whether you're on ceramics or on the glass. Okay. Anything else, Bert? You got a question? No? Okay, so let's do, we've got the little round blue one. I'm not going to bring them back on and show you. We've the little rose one, and which other one did I do? So anyway, let's do 2 drawings, and one of them could be one of the ink techniques, the stamp techniques. So 1 second and he'll spin. I do want to show you this real quick because we've got a lot of new people on. This is our designers that I was talking about that is in the powder, and then you mix them into the little ink jars, we call them, the little jar. So this was our black. Again, I like white, but do you see how that's got that turquoise? So I capped this one. So don't think you have to cap with clear when you're doing your stamping or your quill work. This is all done with a quill pen freehand. So this is a transparent, again, I'm on 96 COE. This is transparent, like a turquoisey blue. And let me back off so you can see that full dish. Okay, so that was done on white. And I did it with the quill pen and just did it freehand. Okay, so he will be right back. So I tell you what, while I'm waiting on him to do the spinning, put this in the water. I was talking about the inks, and we do have a lot of new people. We call them ink, but it's the designer. So this is black. This is the blue here. But I took out the powder, put it in here, and then I mixed it with the medium. And I'm going to just, this has been mixed for a few days, actually, since last week. I'm going to add a little bit of the medium and stir that up good. It needs to be fairly thin to work with the quill pen. I know there's been a couple of people, you can do this with the color concentrates also, you can use the pen. It's much easier with the designers, but it can be done with the CCs. Cannot do it with the enamels. Well, you can if you mix with clove oil, but they're gritty and they have glass in them, and they tend to clog up the pens. We sell the quill pen sets, and I have one here. So the handle, and it comes with 2 nibs, and there are 2 in there. One is copper and one's silver. A lot of people think there's not anything in there but the one, and they're only $8.95. So if you're wanting to do quill work, okay, he is back. So I'm going to scoop this up so that I get it past that little oval that's in the glass. See the little oval? When you touch, did we just go blank?
Yeah, you did.
Oh no, sorry, we're having trouble playing your video. Okay guys, you may be able to hear me, but not see me. No, it says on my end that it's sorry, we're having trouble.
I just reloaded you.
Let me.
I can see you with the quill pen in your hand.
Okay, so tell me if you can see me, or is it stalled on my quill pen? So this happened last time after about an hour. Page is unresponsive. All right, Robin, if you're still out there, can you tell me if you can see me or not? No.
A couple of them are saying they can see you now.
Okay, hold on 1 second, guys. All right, I think maybe we're back. Sorry about that. Okay, so I have the quill pen in my hand. I'm trying to make sure you can see. I just put my hand over the glass to make sure that you can see that. It stalled on my end, so I'm not sure if it's still... Okay, I think we're good. Can you see me, Bert, with my hand over the glass?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so what I was trying to say is make sure you have to dip and then drag off, but when you touch your glass, you let the tongs at the end open up and then slowly move. Okay, so is it something wrong?
Just for me.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So if that was like the center of a flower, and then I would come out and... Okay, so I'm just doing like a flower petal real quick. Turn your work as you're going, and you constantly have to load. This one's still a little thick, but I didn't want to take a bunch of time to thin it out. So you get the idea. So it's not going to, and you can't go a long distance. And sometimes you need to go fairly slow because you've got to let that funnel and go down to that tip. Now it's coming a little bit better. So if we come out here, so you can get the idea. Okay. All right. I think we're going to end, and Bert's going to spin the wheel twice. And
I can't get all the comments up.
You can't get all the comments up? No. Oh, no.
All I got is about the last 40.
Okay, comment, guys, because he can't see the...
It's not letting it go any past that.
Yeah, once it restarted us, the comments went away, so we're going to have to go off. We can't get to that since we're still on the same stream here. So be sure and comment. I'll give you a few seconds to do that, and then he can, from anybody commenting here on the end. Okay, Cindy, I see you. Stephen, thank you. So comment. Okay, so that's kind of cool. This was, I actually show you a lot of this on one of my designer YouTubes. If you're not, let me switch my cameras back. Okay, so be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can search on Paula McCoy, and you'll see the Colors for Earth logo. Okay, and then click that little bell so you'll get notification. I may do some YouTube lives also, but right now I like the way this one is working. We did some through Zoom, and I wasn't happy with the quality of the videos. So if this works, and you guys seem to like this because you can get notifications and find me. So all you got to do is when I post those dates is just click that you're interested, or if you click on the actual link, you can click on going, and it will put it on your watch list, your event list, and it reminds you. So that's kind of cool. So on the, what you see in my background right now is the website. colorsforearth.com. And at the top of the website, in that blue bar, and my head's in front of it, there is a tab. This is education. I'm going to kind of move to the side. We'll see if I can do this. But it says education. The drop-down menu says video tutorials, and that's where you find all of the videos that I've done by product or technique. And so if you click on ceramics, it's going to take you to any ceramic video that I've done. And it created, this is a playlist of all the different ones. You know, you can save those to your own YouTube. So you could save it to CFE Enamels. You could create your own list. And that way it's easy to find, okay? You can also comment on those videos and I will answer your questions. I do allow the comments on there. There's a lot of people that don't do that, but I do. So, okay, Jenny, thanks for sticking with me. All right, so.
Why don't you see if you can scroll down yours and find more? I've got 421 comments, but I can only see about 40 of them.
Okay, so he says there's like 400 and some comments, but he can only see. Let me see how far I go back. I'm not sure I can't see, but I see less than you do, babe. So we'll just have to go with what he can see. Okay, so I've given you guys some time. So he's going to spin with the comments that we have and tell you who the winner is tonight. Now you freeze a bit from the audio, Vicky said. Okay, I'm not sure what has happened. We better do this quick because something may happen. Okay, all right, so Bert, who is our first winner?
Vicky Young.
Vicky Young. All right, Vicky Young. Okay, Vicky Young. So you will win one of those pieces. Let's do another spin and let's do this little stamped dish. It's got some of the designers and the concentrates on there. Okay. All right, Bert, who wins that one?
Sue Schroeder.
Sue Schroeder. You are the winner of the little stamped dish. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging in there. And if you have any questions, put them on here. I go back and I look at every single comment. Sometimes Facebook doesn't give you everything correctly. It's really bizarre how they're doing things lately. But I will do my best to answer everything and put links into the website if you have questions on certain things. Okay? All right. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next Tuesday night, 7:30 Central, and we are going to talk about ceramics next week. Okay? How to use our ceramic products. All right, guys. Good night.